Man, I came here to win rings, not babysit anyone.
Luka Doncic said he came to win rings, not babysit anyone. 5 words that cracked the entire Lakers organization wide open. A tunnel fight between agents, LeBron going full Papa Bear mode, a leaked group chat message that changed everything, and a grudge that goes back years before any of them ever shared a locker room. This story is messier than anyone reported. Do you think the Lakers can actually compete for a championship this season, with LeBron protecting Bronny's rotation spot, while Luka is trying to win at the highest level? Drop your honest take in the comments right now. Let's start with the sentence that broke everything. I came here to win rings, not babysit anyone. Luka Doncic said that out loud, in front of cameras, about a teammate. And not just any teammate, the son of the man who shares a locker room with him. The man who reportedly had significant influence over who coaches this team, and the man who is essentially the reason the Lakers organization has been operating more like a family business than a professional basketball franchise. That one statement turned what was already a tense situation into an open war. And to understand how we got here, we have to go back further than January 13th. We have to go back to where the resentment actually started building.
Back to our breaking news here on SportsCenter. Massive trade happening in the NBA right now. The Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. It's a 3-team deal that includes Utah, according to our Shams Charania.
February 1st, 2025. The day the Luka for Anthony Davis trade became official. This was already a seismic moment for the franchise, but the way the players found out is where the chaos began. According to the book, A Hollywood Ending by Yaron Weitzman, the trade was supposed to be handled carefully by the front office. Players were supposed to hear about it directly from leadership. Instead, Bronny James reportedly saw the Shams Charania tweet announcing the trade and immediately dropped it into the team group chat.
I was shocked.
Everyone else?
Like I said, I didn't know. I was actually at home about to watch a movie with my wife and got the phone call. So I had no idea. I found out like an hour later I was no longer with the team. So I was in shock, obviously. Had no idea that, it was happening. But I mean, now it's, I'm kind of over it and just kind of, getting ready to play with Dallas.
Just think about what that moment felt like for Anthony Davis, a man who gave his body to that franchise, who carried the defense on broken down knees and worn out ankles, who helped bring a championship to Los Angeles. Finding out he was being shipped to Dallas because a rookie, who is only on the roster because of who his father is, posted a link in a group chat. Davis's reaction was cold and completely understandable. He said he could not believe it and called it a devastating moment.
Saturday night, well, my emotions all over the place. Obviously, we had just come off a big win, huge win in the Garden. I was out. You got something for it. I was out with my family at dinner and got the news. And the first time I heard it, I thought it was for sure fake. Thought it was a hoax. People messing around, whatever. But then when AD called me, AD FaceTimed me, and I talked to him for quite a while. And even when I got off the phone with him, it still didn't seem real, and it still pretty much didn't seem real until saw Luka today, and then I saw a clip of AD at the Dallas shoot-around. That's when it finally hit me like, this is real.
LeBron also reacted in that chat, but do not be fooled by his surprise. He was panicking for entirely different reasons. He did not just lose his best friend and his most trusted defensive partner. He gained a 25-year-old superstar who is better than him in almost every statistical and competitive category, and who now shares the spotlight that LeBron has owned exclusively for over 2 decades. That is not a teammate. That is a threat to everything LeBron has spent his career building around the idea of being the undisputed center of every team he plays on. Luka did not come to Los Angeles to play second fiddle. He did not come to mentor anyone. He came because the organization sold him on a legitimate championship window. What he found instead was a situation structured around protecting LeBron's legacy and grooming Bronny for a future that nobody outside the James family orbit actually signed off on. The November 15th game against the Bucks is where the cracks became impossible to ignore publicly. Luka dropped 41 points, and the Lakers won. On paper, it looks fine. Look deeper at the rotation, and you see the disaster underneath the scoreline. Bronny started that game. He played 10 minutes. He went 0 for 2 from the field and contributed essentially nothing. The Lakers' net rating during Bronny's time on the court alongside Luka cratered to -4.2. That is a staggering number. It means that with the best offensive player on the planet on the floor, the team was getting outscored because the surrounding personnel was too much of a liability to compensate for.
Went to the sideline with his injury. Luka's in pretty deep, kicks it into the corner. Bronny getting the start tonight. Has seen plenty of action.
Coach J.J. Redick hit his limit during that game. Insiders say he lost his composure on the sidelines, screaming at Bronny to shoot the ball before pulling him and not putting him back for the rest of the night. That moment exposed the arrangement that had reportedly been operating silently since LeBron was involved in selecting Redick for the head coaching position. The unspoken deal was that Bronny would get meaningful minutes alongside Luka as a developmental project disguised inside a title run. Redick's coaching instincts overrode the arrangement because he could not sit there and watch the Milwaukee Bucks exploit Bronny on every single possession while pretending it was not affecting the game. After Redick benched Bronny, LeBron reportedly went into full damage control mode. He was not even playing that game due to his sciatica issues, but he was in that building and he was not quiet about his displeasure. Sources say he confronted Redick in the back, furious that the arrangement was being broken publicly where everyone could see it. And then Luka sat down for an interview and said what he said. Rings. Not babysitting. G League for development. The locker room was never the same after that.
If I was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner
For?
Jaren Jackson.
Yeah. That'd be a great fit.
I would.
For whom?
Well, that's the thing. Because you got to figure out the package. There's a world where you can do what's best for your team and do what's best for Austin. Because Austin deserves to get paid.
Rich Paul saw the situation deteriorating and went on the offensive. If Luka was not going to accept Bronny as a priority, Rich Paul was going to show Luka exactly who controls the roster construction. On January 13th, the same night the Lakers lost to the Sacramento Kings 124-112, Rich Paul went on his Game Over podcast and started calling Austin Reaves an asset rather than a teammate. He suggested the Lakers should trade Reaves for Jaren Jackson Jr. from Memphis to address their defensive problems. Read what that actually was. It was not a basketball analysis. It was a threat. Rich Paul was telling Luka in plain language that the person on this roster he actually enjoys playing with, the teammate who makes playing in Los Angeles tolerable, can be removed if Luka continues to resist the family arrangement. It was leverage disguised as a trade suggestion, and everyone in the basketball world understood exactly what it meant. Reeves' agent, Reggie Berry, understood it immediately. Berry represents Austin Reaves, who is approaching a potential $200 million max contract. That is generational money, legacy-defining money. And Berry was watching Rich Paul try to use Reaves as a bargaining chip to protect Bronny's rotation spot. Berry was not going to allow that without a response. So when the Lakers came through the tunnel after losing to the Kings that night, Berry was already there waiting for Rich Paul. And the confrontation that followed reportedly required security to intervene. Two of the most powerful agents in professional basketball going at it in a tunnel while the players were still on the court is not a minor incident. That does not happen over normal business disagreements. That happens when someone feels their client is being used as a pawn in a power play they did not consent to. But here's the part that explains why Luka's frustration runs so much deeper than just Bronny's playing time. This goes back to 2020. LeBron was pitching Nike on a concept called Team LeBron, his own sub-brand, his own kingdom within the Nike universe. The Jordan brand comparison was obvious and intentional. LeBron has spent his entire career in the shadow of Michael Jordan's legacy, and Team LeBron was supposed to be the commercial answer to Jordan's empire. And the player he specifically wanted as the face of that brand was Luka Doncic. LeBron went on podcasts and said it himself. He wanted Luka to be the first signee of Team LeBron. He saw Luka's game, his unselfishness, his court vision, his appeal to younger audiences, and thought he could attach himself to that future. Luka said no. Not just no, but he signed with the Jordan brand instead. The direct competitor. The exact brand LeBron had been measuring himself against his entire career. Every time Luka steps onto the court wearing Jordan brand on his feet, dropping 33.6 points per game and leading the NBA in scoring, LeBron has to sit with the fact that the player he wanted to represent his legacy chose Jordan's legacy instead. LeBron admitted it himself. He said it was going to haunt him a little bit. And it has. Because it is not just a business decision. It is a statement about how Luka sees himself and who he wants to be compared to. Luka does not see himself as the heir to LeBron's throne. He sees himself as the closest thing to Michael Jordan that the current generation has produced. And the market agrees with him. The footage from late November 2025 says everything that words cannot fully capture. After a whistle during a Lakers game, Luka walks over to LeBron and puts his hand out for a low five. The most basic gesture of teammate connection. LeBron looks at the outstretched hand and completely ignores it. Walks right past. In front of cameras. In front of teammates. In front of everyone watching. That was not a missed handshake. That was 5 years of rejection, ego bruising, and simmering resentment expressed in a single cold moment. LeBron is not looking at a young star he wants to mentor anymore. He is looking at the person who turned down his brand, took over his team, and gets compared to Michael Jordan while LeBron is still desperately trying to catch Jordan's 6 rings. The numbers make LeBron's situation even more uncomfortable. His usage rate hit a career low, hovering around 28%. For a man who has been the primary offensive engine of every team he has played on for 23 years, a 28% usage rate is basically a demotion with a paycheck attached. And instead of accepting the role gracefully and letting Luka lead, LeBron turned every post-game press conference into a performance about sacrifice and bending his game for the team. The audacity of framing playing alongside a generational talent as charity work while your son is putting up 2.3 points per game with a defensive rating of 120.5 is genuinely breathtaking. Bronny was getting cooked on every possession during his 7.5 minutes per game, and LeBron had the nerve to go on ESPN and suggest that if the Lakers were depending on a 41-year-old to be their best defender, they were in trouble. That comment was not about the team. It was a pointed shot at Luka. Framing Luka's defense as a liability while Bronny exists in the rotation is the kind of disconnect from reality that only makes sense when you understand that LeBron's priority is not winning a championship. It is protecting the James family brand. The Madison Square Garden moment with Stephen A. Smith made that priority crystal clear. Smith gave an honest on-air critique of Bronny. The kid went 0 for 7 and the G League conversation was legitimate and fair. During the Lakers-Knicks game, LeBron walked up to Smith courtside mid-game and went off on him. Told him to stop criticizing his son. In public. During a game. Security was on alert. Anyone who watched the footage could see this was a man who had completely lost perspective about the difference between protecting his son and intimidating a journalist for doing his job. The trade deadline on February 5th was the moment the organization officially admitted the experiment was not working, and then somehow made it worse. While the rest of the league was making aggressive moves to position for the playoffs, the Lakers shipped out Gabe Vincent for Luke Kennard, another shooter, another corner stander. While Luka was playing 38 minutes a night and screaming for defensive help. The rumored Draymond Green deal died because the Lakers would not move the pieces necessary to make it happen. Those pieces presumably included protecting Bronny's roster spot. Charles Barkley said it on Inside the NBA without flinching. The Lakers have to turn the team over to Luka and Austin. You cannot pay someone $50 million a year to be the third best player on a contending team. That statement landed because it named the truth that the Lakers front office has been unable to say internally for months. And then, the All-Star voting results arrived. For the first time in 23 years, LeBron James was not voted as an All-Star starter. The player who has defined the NBA's commercial identity for over 2 decades was not chosen by the fans, the players, or the media to start the showcase event of the mid-season. Luka starts. LeBron watches. The babysitter comment. The tunnel fight. The Jordan brand rejection. The ignored handshake. The all-star snub. The Reddit arrangement. The group chat leak. Every piece of this connects to the same central problem. The Lakers built their roster around two incompatible visions of what this team is supposed to be. Luka thinks it is a championship contender. LeBron thinks it is a legacy project for the James family. And those two things cannot coexist in the same locker room for much longer. Luka came to win rings. LeBron came to secure his son's future. Those two goals are tearing the Lakers apart from the inside, and the evidence is everywhere. This situation is only going to get messier before it gets resolved. If you are following every development in this drama, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update.